Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lena. This is Lena's Bookshelf, and today we're going to do a different type of video. So recently I hit 1,000 subscribers on my channel, so thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed and supported me on this crazy booktube journey the past 6 months or so. But in celebration of that, I wanted to do a Q&A so that some of you could get to know me a little bit better. So I asked over on my Instagram and then also on my community tab here on YouTube for people to just ask me questions. So I'm gonna start with the questions that I got from Instagram. First question I got was least favorite genre. So my least favorite genre would probably have to be fantasy, and it's ironic because the person that asked me that question, I'm pretty sure fantasy is like her favorite. I just don't really vibe much with fantasy. My idea of fantasy is like Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Divergent, things like that. Maybe some dystopian. That's about as fantasy as I get. Somebody also asked what camera I use, and I film on my iPhone SE actually. So yeah, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. I do definitely have a goal of getting a camera at some point, but we'll see. That might be a couple years down the road. And then in that same question, there was a second one, and it was tips for new YouTubers. So my main tip for new YouTubers would just be to upload. In my first couple months of being on YouTube, I uploaded twice a week, no matter what. And then after a couple months, I started missing one or two here and there, but pretty consistently, I have been posting at least 2 videos a week. The next question I got was, if you could reread any book as if it was the first time, which book would you choose? For that question, I'm going to go with Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This book is a domestic type thriller about a couple that has a lot more secrets in their closet than you think when you first meet them. And I had no idea what was coming with this. And I just love this book, and I've reread it multiple times, but nothing compares to the first time I read this book. And I remember exactly where I was when the major twist happened, and I was at the gym on the stair stepper, and I'm pretty sure I almost like tripped and fell off of the machine because I was just so mesmerized and just sucked in by this book. The next question I got was, why don't you read graphic novels? Will you ever try them? So I have actually tried to read 2 graphic novels. I tried to read the one that's like Quiet Girl in a Noisy World, and then I also tried to read Pumpkinheads. And if you don't know what a graphic novel is, it's kind of like, basically like a comic book. Here's why I don't vibe with graphic novels. I am a pretty visual person, and so having the visualizations already created for me is confusing to my brain. I feel like at that point I might as well just watch a TV show or a movie. And then the other thing is that it felt very chaotic. I felt like I couldn't get into the story, and it almost felt like there wasn't enough. I wasn't getting enough of the story just from the pictures. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you the plot of either of those books now. So yes, I have tried graphic novels, and yes, I know they are not for me, so I probably won't be picking up anymore. The next question I got is, what's one book everyone should read before they die? And for that, I think I have to go with The Giver. Let me grab that one. Okay, here's one of my copies of The Giver. I actually own 3. But this is I think it's technically middle grade, but it's pretty short. And this book is something that I think everybody needs to read because it is about a dystopian community, and it taught me so much. I feel like I learned so much about empathy, about human interaction, about celebrating differences, about prejudice, about taking the tragedies and the sadness in the world and turning it into something to learn from. I just have so much respect for this book, and I reread it almost every year, and the movie is great, and it evokes emotion in me every single time. Switching gears from bookish questions for a minute, I got the question of, what is your signature scent? So my signature scent, my favorite lotion of all time, is the Cactus Blossom scent from Bath & Body Works. I also love it in the body spray, in the candle, in the every single thing that comes in that scent, I buy. It's my favorite. But as far as perfume goes, I have been wearing the same perfume for about 7 years now, and it is C by Giorgio Armani. And I actually just finished a bottle, so I'm gonna have to get some more here so that I can continue to smell the way I always smell. But it's a very nice, clean scent, but it also has some musky notes to it as well. And I don't know, it's at the point now where it just smells like me. When did you start dancing? I started dancing, I think I was 5 or 6. I think I was 5 or 6, and then I took a break for a couple of years, and then I started again when I was 9 or 10, and I've been dancing ever since. I actually have a degree in dance, so I have a bachelor's in dance, and I have taught dance ever since I graduated. So I really enjoy teaching dance, and I think that dance will always be a part of my life. It's always been a part of my mother's life as well, and over the years it has definitely become just part of my personality almost. What are some personal, professional goals you have for the next 5 years? Oh gosh, I don't know. I haven't thought 5 years ahead in a long time. I feel like when I was in high school, it was just thinking to like when I was in college. And then when I was in college, it was thinking to after college. And now that I'm after college, I don't really know. I mean, I would like to continue to grow, both in my personal life, my professional life, on YouTube, everything. Obviously, I feel like growth is something I always strive for. I would like to finish my graduate degree at some point. I did start a graduate program, and then when COVID happened, I just kind of let it fall to the wayside, but I would like to get my master's degree at some point. I am really happy in my job where I am, and I could easily see myself staying in that job, but hopefully the goal would be to have some upward mobility within my job as well. And then, will you be traveling to Iowa for work anytime soon? So I have a couple of bookish friends that live in Iowa, and the answer is probably not anytime soon. So if you didn't know, for about 2 years I had a travel-based job, and in the first year of that job, I think I went to Iowa 6 times. But I have actually now taken a step back from regular travel, and I have more of an office position now, which I am really enjoying. So I'm still traveling, just not nearly as much. Okay, let's move on to some questions from YouTube that people posted on my community tab. So the first one is, what is your favorite drink while reading? I really enjoy drinking coffee while I'm reading. I enjoy coffee in all different styles, all different flavors. I like lattes, I like cappuccinos, I like black coffee, I like coffee with creamer, I like iced coffee. I kind of like any type of coffee you can think of. Do you prefer reading in complete silence or with ambiance, music, and sounds playing in the background? So I actually probably prefer silence, surprisingly, especially if it's a book that I'm really into. And I think part of it is because I'm such a visual person that I just become engrossed in the visualizations that I have in my head. And if there's something playing in the background, I don't think I would even notice it. But that being said, I am also the youngest child with a bunch of siblings, so growing up it was never quiet, and so I got very used to reading with a lot of noise around. So I can easily tune stuff out while I'm reading. Have you always been a reader, or is this something you learned to love later on in life? I have always been a reader. So I was homeschooled, and reading was a big part of our homeschool curriculum from an early age. I remember my mother reading aloud to us for hours on the couch. As soon as I could read on my own, I wanted to. I didn't take naps for very long, and so very quickly my nap time just became resting with books on my bed. So I always had reading built into my schedule in some form or another. My sister and my mom are both big readers, as well as I have a couple of aunts that are big readers too. So it's just always been something that's been a part of my life. What is your favorite thing about having your booktube? Honestly, I think my favorite thing is probably the community. There is such a cool community here in the booktube community, as well as Bookstagram, and I've met some really great people, and I've been able to cultivate some friendships with people that I knew even before I had a booktube channel. But the community is just so great, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. How do you decide what to read next? There are so many good options. Sometimes it takes me forever to start a new book because there is so much to choose from. So I definitely think that making a TBR at the beginning of the month is helpful. I don't always stick to my TBR, but at least I have like a starting point. I have like an outline of what I think I want to read. And then if I'm not feeling it and I want to mood read something, I give myself the grace to do that as well. But there's also all sorts of different TBR games that you could play to help you decide what to pick next. You could ask friends, you could spin a wheel, all different kinds of things. My friend Jackie actually created TBR cards to help you pick your next read. I'll link her Etsy shop below if you're interested in those. But I think just have fun with it. That way you're not feeling like, oh, I have to read this, or sometimes it's easy to get so overwhelmed when you have so many unread books that you almost just shut down. It's like, well, fine, I won't read anything. Let me go watch a movie. So definitely try to be creative with it and try and give yourself a starting point, but then give yourself the grace to deviate from it a little bit as well. What are your favorite tropes in thrillers? I really like locked door mysteries. I really like cult thrillers. I really like thrillers that happen in a short amount of time. Is that a trope? Like No Exit or things like that where it happens in like an hour or two. I like road trip thrillers. I like kidnapping trope. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. Would you ever start your own book club? I will never say never. At this point, it's not something I have really thought about, but it's not something I would be opposed to doing. So genre would you consider your favorite? Definitely thrillers. Definitely consider thrillers my main genre, but recently historical fiction has been closing in on the thriller genre. So it's not my favorite. I definitely think thrillers are my favorite, but historical fiction I think would be second. How many books are on your physical TBR? Too many. I think there's like 50. It's definitely less than what it was. I started the beginning of the year with like 70 and I think I have it down to 50. The problem is I keep buying books, okay? I feel attacked right now. What motivated you to start a booktube channel? Actually, my booktube friends did. So I have some friends that have booktube channels and I used to comment these really long comments on their videos of basically like my review of whatever they were reading or my input. And they all were like, Lena, just start a YouTube channel. You have so many things to say. And I was like, no, I don't think I don't think that's for me. And they were like, well, just try it. Just post a video and try it. So I did. So really it was my friends that gave me the push to do it, but I thought about it for years. What's your favorite wine? So I am a red wine drinker. I think my favorite would probably have to be a Cabernet Sauvignon. If you are looking for a good, cheap grocery store wine, my two favorites are the 19 Crimes Snoop Dogg wine and then also the Menage a Trois red blend. So I do enjoy blends. I enjoy Cabernet Sauvignon. I enjoy Merlot. But really I will drink any red wine. What's one booktube goal you'd like to achieve by this time next year? So I would like to be monetized. So if you didn't know, in order to be monetized on YouTube, you have to have a certain number of watch hours. And so I am hoping that this time next year, I will be at the point where I can be monetized. Advice on getting out of reading slumps. Rereads. That is usually how I get myself out of reading slumps. Rereads and also audiobooks. Because audiobooks, I feel like when I'm in a reading slump, I find myself DNFing a lot. And with audiobooks, it's easier to DNF things because I'm not holding the tangible physical book in front of me a lot of the time. If I have the physical book, I have a little bit of a harder time DNFing it, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe that's weird. But so listening to an audiobook definitely helps. But then also rereading, because I'm reminded why I love to read and reminded what types of things I love to read. And then usually whatever I reread, I'll try and find something similar to read next to kind of get me out of that slump. The last question I'm going to read today is describe your comfy reading spot. So my comfy reading spot would be somewhere on probably this couch or my other couch or my bed, and a nice book and a nice warm cup of coffee and a blanket or four. I have a heated blanket, I have a weighted blanket, so just all the blankets. And I love a rainy fall day. That is like the best reading atmosphere for me. All right, thanks everyone so much if you submitted a question. Hopefully I think I got to most of the questions, but maybe we'll have to do this again at some point. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.